Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Matthew Johnson here. I'm otherwise called the Upwork guy. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to scale your agency with Upwork without losing hundreds of dollars in paid ads, cold email campaigns, LinkedIn ads, etc. Let's go. So I want to specifically call out social media marketing agencies because I think that they have one of the biggest potentials of scaling on Upwork. So Upwork is a relatively untapped platform for agencies to find clients and grow their businesses. So in this guide, I'm going to share a couple of tips and strategies for social media marketing agencies to get clients on Upwork. So I'd like to preface this by saying that by untapped, I'm not saying that Upwork is by any means something brand new and that it's a concept foreign or, new to a lot of people. A lot of people already have been using it in order to gain clients for their business if they're new or to scale if they're an agency. But by untapped, I just mean that not everyone is using it to its fullest potential, which I feel is a huge waste of what could be. So first things first, you need to optimize your profile. And so make sure your profile is complete, professional, showcases skills and experiences, and most importantly, it gets to the point. We'll get more in detail into the rest of these points, but I'm just going to start out with a bit of a synopsis on every single one of them. So you need to find relevant jobs. So use Upwork's search filters to find jobs that match your skills and experience. Customize your proposals for each job is essentially what I mean for finding relevant jobs. Deliver the results you've promised the client. So you need to under-promise and over-deliver to the client. This is a concept that many seasoned agency owners already know. So you need to leverage your results. So use the results you've gotten your clients as leverage to expand your clientele. And then lastly, and I have this highlighted, to scale, which is the most important aspect. So gradually expand your team, which allows you to shift focus from client fulfillment to customer acquisition and operations. So let's start out with optimizing your Upwork profile. So first things first, make sure your profile is complete and up to date. These 4 things, apart from that main point, will help you to get more inbound leads on Upwork, which is the entire point of the profile. So you need to use a professional and high quality profile picture, which is essentially like a professional headshot. Now, I'm talking to you while I'm in a marina. Some of you call it wife beater, whatever it is. In my country, Jamaica, we call it a marina. But it's probably not going to sound as convincing coming from me. But for formality's sake, you need to be able to put your best self forward on Upwork because it's a very professional platform as opposed to YouTube, Twitter, and other forms of social media, which would allow you to put your personality on display, and of course you'd be rewarded for it, as opposed to Upwork, which is more formal. So you need a professional headshot, and preferably one with a background. You can go to a site called PFP Makeup to customize the background. Even if you have a headshot with a plain background, you'd be able to customize it there. So you need to be able to film a 2 to 3 minute video introduction. Just like what I'm doing here, it's not an introduction, but it's a video where I'm literally just looking at the camera, talking to it as if it were a person. And the reason this is so important is because although I said earlier that personality isn't as big of a selling point on Upwork as it would be on social media, people still want to know that they're working with a human. Before you even meet the prospect, you need to keep in mind that the first thing that they see is your profile. So if you're not actively trying to create a relationship with them through your profile to make it seem like they know you, or the prospect gets to believe that they know you, then you're already putting yourself behind your competition because they have taken maybe 5 minutes out of the day to not only record this, but also to polish it so that it looks as presentable as possible. So next up is to write a profile description using the HWRW format. So this is a format that I've spoken about in my past videos about profile optimization, but the format is essentially how it works, who it's for, the results you can expect, and what to do next. That's the same format that I use to write every single profile description for myself and my clients, and as a result, you get maybe 2 to 3 to 5 inbound leads per day on Upwork. And by inbound leads, is essentially when they come to you. For example, they're searching for a Facebook ads person. There's an SEO component, which means search engine optimization component, to every Upwork profile. And this SEO score is heavy heavily influenced by all of these things that I'm talking about now. So the more of these things that you do have and the more advice that you do follow from me, you'd be able to see an increase in your SEO score, which makes it more likely for someone to find you, a potential prospect to find you and invite you to apply for a job, which will then convert for you. So that's why this is so important. So include all results you've gotten for past clients. If you don't have any, do free work. So I really like this concept, and it was coined by Cold Email Wizard, who really helped me to find my niche, find my offer, and then help people in the same way I've done for myself. So results are paramount on Upwork. It's not just on Upwork, but it's for any business that you're running. If you don't have results, that means you don't have a track record, you don't have social proof, which means that it's much more difficult for prospects to trust you. Think about it. A brand is basically what makes people buy. So the same clothes that Nike sells, for example, the quality might be the same as another brand that does clothing, apparel. But 100% of the time, even if the quality was the same and the prices are the same, you are going to choose Nike over the no-name brand simply because you know and trust Nike as a brand associated with quality. It's the same concept in entrepreneurship, agencies, whatever you want to refer to it as, freelancing. It's the same concept. If they don't trust you, then there's no way they're going to buy from you, which is why it's so important, once again, going back to the second point, that you film a video introduction. Because even if the prospect doesn't trust you initially, they want to trust you. They want to be able to trust you. They're looking for every reason to legitimize their decision and why they should go with you. And the more fuel, the more ammo you give them, the more likely they are to use it to shoot, which is why you need to give them as much as possible. Give them the ammo and allow them to pull the trigger. So if you don't have results, because I know many of you probably are watching this video, you don't have any prior results, what Dan Cold Email Wizard basically preaches is for you to do free work for others and then use those results that you've gotten for others doing free work to then bolster your portfolio. So I'll give you another example. Let's say that you're doing social media management, meaning you're doing content creation, you're scheduling, you're finding hashtags, you're doing all of these things for these companies. You need to be able to do the content creation aspect for free. So if a company will genuinely pay you $2K plus in order to create content for them on a monthly cadence. So let's say you have to create 30 pieces of content and then schedule all of that content. You should do 30 pieces of content for whoever it is, a brand that you would love to work with completely for free. And even if they don't work with you, you'd still have that content that you've done for them and you'd be able to put it in your portfolio as proof of work. So best case scenario, they do end up working with you and you'd get your first client there. Worst case scenario, they never respond to you and you would have that work in your portfolio pretty much for free. You don't lose anything because you're broke. All you're using is your time because you don't have the money to be able to substitute for your time. So you'd have to use and leverage your time instead. So worst case scenario, you lose maybe 4 to 5 hours and it's not even a loss because then you'd have portfolio items and you've given them more ammo. So they have something else to be able to justify trusting you. So every time you give them reasons, so social proof, filming a video, client results, that's ammo that you're giving the prospect to then be able to shoot from the hip and want to reach out to you inbound or pull the trigger on closing the deal with you. They convert themselves. So this concept is incredibly simple, but a lot of people overcomplicate it because you feel like you're too good for free work, which is not true. Because if you have no results, then there's no reason that people should trust you and there's no reason that you should get clients, right? So you need to be able to throw away the ego that you do have, and it's unwarranted ego because you have no clients. Do free work. Best case scenario, you get a paying client. Worst case scenario, you have portfolio items, you have social proof to then get clients anyway. So it's a win-win situation regardless of what perspective you're coming from. So if you do all 4 of these things, your profile is completely optimized, and that's one step further to getting clients either inbound or outbound. So do all of these things and you will surely see results. I've done it at least 10 times now for 10 different clients in 10 different niches, and to this day they still get inbound results. So do that. So next up is choosing the right projects to bid on. And when I say bid, it just means applications, right? So Upwork refers to applying to jobs jobs as bids. So each job has many properties to it. So whether it be location, the job description, the budget, whether it's hourly or a fixed budget, is it payment verified, the job title, there are so many aspects to the project. But the ones I'm telling you to focus on now are the most important, and then you can cut the fluff. So one, choose projects that match your expertise and skills. I'm not telling anyone to randomly get up and then choose social media marketing because you feel like this is an evergreen niche or service or one that you can just make a bunch of money from. I'm not telling anybody to do that. So stick to your expertise and skills. If you're a graphic designer by talent, profession, or as a hobby, you need to stick with that because it's much easier to stick with and monetize a skill that one you enjoy and one that you find as a hobby. So something you genuinely enjoy and that you've been doing for an extensive period of time. It's much easier to do that than to try to learn an entirely different skill that you probably don't enjoy and you don't have proof of concept for. So we just went over how you can get proof of concept for it, but it will take a significantly longer time for you to do that than to stick with skills that you already have. So I don't recommend it. So stick to skills that you have. If you're a graphic designer, stick to designing logos, creating content, doing banners, etc., rather than trying to just get up and learn Google Ads one day and decide that you're going to pitch it and the world sucks if it doesn't work for you. That's not how it works. 2, look for projects from first world countries. So that is the USA, New Zealand, Canada, Australia. So I'm not saying that third world countries don't have lucrative jobs. I'm saying that the probability that they do is much lower and it's more of a hassle than if you were to work with these first world countries. So I'm from Jamaica, a third world country, but every single one of my clients are either from the US or Canada, which are first world countries. So I'm telling you as someone who is from a third world country that working with someone else from a third world country is a total nightmare because oftentimes you pitch a price that they just absolutely can't afford. They're looking for cheap work and that's not why you're here to learn about how to actually make a living from this. You need to target first world countries because not only would they be able to pay you, but they're less of a headache in the sense that most won't require 4 to 5 revisions on a particular project or they won't be badgering you into the night or something like that. And there are scam jobs on Upwork and those scam jobs are typically associated with third world countries and you don't want to be scammed, right? So stick to the first world countries. There are plenty of them posting jobs on a quotidian basis. I genuinely think that there's nothing to be gained from taking a project from a third world country, regardless of what the budget is like. 3, read the job description carefully. You can't trust tags, categories, etc. on Upwork. You can only vet jobs through the description because Upwork allows clients to choose tags and categories themselves, even if it has nothing to do with what they're actually asking for. So as an example, one of my clients does lead generation. So they do cold email, they do LinkedIn outreach, they do Twitter outreach, etc. They do omni-channel outreach. Some people that post jobs on Upwork are looking for help with their cold outreach, but they categorize the job and tag the job as email marketing, which is something entirely different. Email marketing is typically associated with e-commerce brands. You know those email lists that you sign up for and they send you emails once a week or something and they have discount codes in them? That's email marketing. Whereas cold emailing is sending emails en masse to a particular ICP, ideal customer profile. 2 completely different things, which is why you can't trust the tags and categories there. The only thing that you can trust with your eyes on Upwork, and this gets better with experience, is the job description because that's where they verbatim say what it is exactly that they want. They describe exactly what they want. So if they're looking for cold email assistance, but they tag it as email marketing, in the job description, they probably say that they need to email a list of this many people using this software. That's cold email, right? Not email marketing. So pull your focus into the job description because that's where the real money is from these projects. 4, avoid projects where the client has incredibly low budgets and makes a point of clarifying how much they want the project done for. So I don't like to judge an Upwork job based on the budget that they've put initially on the project because oftentimes people don't know how much the service that they want actually costs. They're going based on how much they think it should cost. A common example is lead generation. generation. So for cold email, the typical payment structure is pay-per-call, right? So every single qualified call that you get to your client, maybe you charge them $300 and maybe you charge a setup fee. So that's an initial fee to get everything going. You charge a $2,000 setup fee. In reality, the prospect doesn't know that this payment structure even exists because maybe they work in an entirely different industry where they only charge on retainers. You need to be able to communicate to the prospect when you get them onto a call that this is typically how things work for you, and that's how it goes based on that. And it's not something that they'll know unless they get onto a call with someone and somebody clarifies it for them. So you can't go into every job thinking that the price listed on their budget is their bottom line and that's all they're willing to pay. No, that's not true, which is why many people are disillusioned into thinking that there are no large projects that they can get on Upwork. That's just not true. So unless they explicitly say in the job description that this is all that they're willing to pay, then you need to disregard everything else that they put there in the property of the job proposal. So follow these 4 before you actually bid on a project and you'd be golden. So moving on. So crafting an effective proposal. Many of you have this notion in your mind that there's a one-size-fits-all proposal and that proposals are the make or break on Upwork. In my opinion, the first 2 aspects that I've spoken about so far, so bidding on the right project and optimizing your profile, are arguably the 2 most important aspects of Upwork, full stop. Your proposal, yes, it does mean something because if it sucks, then people just won't click on it and they won't convert in the first place. But you need to understand that when somebody clicks on your proposal, no matter how good it is, and they go to your profile and your profile is utter garbage, then no matter how good the proposal is, they won't go with you because your profile sucks and people want to trust you. But if you're not giving them the ammo to trust you, you're not giving them the fuel, then it's almost like you're working against yourself. It's counterproductive. With that being said, crafting an effective proposal. So address the client's needs and requirements. So you need to read the project description carefully, customize the proposal based on the client's needs. So use their language, word for word, verbatim, and keywords. If the prospect says that they want chocolate ice cream on a summer day, you're going to put exactly what they said in the job description into your proposal, that you'll get them ice cream on a summer day using this unique mechanism. That's all. Don't try to overcomplicate it. Don't try to flex your repertoire of words, your vocabulary. Don't try to do all of these fancy bells and whistles. If you literally need to copy and paste what they've said in the job description and then tweak it a bit using your own language, that's going to give you way more to work with and potentially get you a response than it is trying to flex. 2, showcase your experience and expertise. So this goes back to what I was saying about they want a reason to trust you. You just need to give them that reason. And the most important way that you can actually do this is by having substantial social proof, testimonials, case studies for whatever service that you're offering. So if you're doing graphic designing, social media management, and content creation, then you need to be able to have a fully stacked portfolio, including the work that you've been doing in social media management, graphic design, etc., etc. There's no point, because why would they trust you otherwise? There are 30 other people that are applying to the same job that actually do have all of those social proof and case studies that you don't have. So if it is that you're going to be in competition with someone, you need to at least be as prepared or over prepared than they are. So don't forget. So include a clear and concise plan of action. So if you're doing your proposals and you're just starting out on Upwork, your profile is optimized, you followed everything that I've said, but you still don't have any actual earnings on the platform, and you're not able to send mass volume on Upwork as yet, then you need to go for a hyper-personalized approach. Meaning, for that project, you need to write exactly what you would do in order for that client to see the results they want to see. So if it is that the client is looking for someone to boost their social media following from 500 to 1,000 for the brand Pet Lovers, as an example, then you need to outline in that plan what exactly you do specifically for Pet Lovers to get them from 500 to 1,000 followers. And that's how you're going to distinguish yourself amongst a third 30 or 40 other competitors that are applying for the same job, because all the rest of them are telling the prospect how good they are, how they really want this job because they need to feed their family, blah, blah, blah. The prospect doesn't care about that. All they care about is getting someone who can give them the results that they want. That's all they care about. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you throw away this whole begging mindset. Like, please give me, sir, or I'm gonna fall down, die, whatever. Get rid of that entirely. Don't be the victim. Right? There are so many people that are in the same position or maybe even significantly worse position than you are that are trying to appeal to someone else's form of humanity. Whereas this is business. It's either you can do it for them or you can't. That's it. So lastly, it is the call to action. And this part is very important. So you need to provide clear instructions on what the prospect should do next. So if it is that they've gotten to the end of your proposal, kudos to you. If they've gotten to the end, that means they're somewhat interested. You need to let them know what they should do next. People like being instructed. They like being told what to do. They don't like to think. Nobody likes to think for the most part. So you telling them what to do eliminates friction because they don't have to think as much. So interested? Let's hop on a call to discuss your exact needs. So you're telling them that let's get on a call so you can discuss what comes next after this. And that's when they respond after that. That's typically when they will respond. They'll choose whether to respond to you or to move on. So you reducing friction actually increases the chances and the bandwidth through which they'll actually get back to you and then, of course, convert into an actual prospect and then eventually a client. So next up, I'm just going to talk more about what you should do after you've gotten them as a client. So a lot of people neglect this part because you have this high after getting your first client and they've paid you whatever you take money up front, and then most of you just don't deliver results, right? And that's the most important part. It's 90% of the entire process. Like the sales process, the onboarding, everything that's good, but you need to get them the results that you've promised them. And the only way that that will come is through client relationships and under promising and over delivering. So you tell them that you can get them from 5 to 1,000 for the Pet Lovers brand, and then you get them to 1,500 or 2,000. You break past it completely because it's only through over delivering that clients will stay longer with you and eventually get you referrals. So they'll tell their friends that, yo, this Matthew guy is actually legit. Like, you should get him too. Like, we can see results together. That's how. So you want to get these results for your clients, and you also want to nurture a relationship with them, because building a strong relationship is key, not only for long-term success on Upwork, but for your agency in general. I have over 8 clients now. I think it's between 8 and 10. And I make communication, I'd over-communicate so they know exactly what's going on. And they probably even know too much, which is maybe another issue. But I'm still green, I'm still young, I'll learn. So communicate regularly and promptly. Be proactive and ask for feedback. So always ask them what it is that you could be doing better, and then look to actively improve. And this doesn't only go for business, but also for self-improvement. So always find out what you can be doing better. You need to understand their business and goals and offer solutions and insights beyond the scope of the project. Very important. Don't just look to help them in this particular endeavor. Show them how they can translate whatever it is you're doing for them into other aspects of the business to further improve it. Show appreciation and go the extra mile. Deliver quality work and exceed their expectations. If there's one thing that you take away from this video, let it be under promise and over deliver. There's no point if you don't not only meet the client's expectations, but go beyond it. If I'm promising 5 to 10 qualified calls per month, and then I want to do at least 20, I want to double the higher end of what it is that I'm promising. Currently doing that, but that's something for another time. So providing quality work and delivering on time. Make sure you understand the client's requirements and deliver quality work that satisfies their needs. Meet the deadline, communicate proactively if there are any issues or delays. So use project management tools like Asana or Trello to stay organized and focused. So this is more of a higher level thing, but many of you don't have the bandwidth or the luxury of using project management tools in the beginning. Get Google Docs, that's free. Use Notion, that's also free. Use these project management tools, quote unquote, in order to streamline everything and just be organized. If it's not done for you, at least do it for your clients. That's another way that you'd be able to help them outside of work. So utilizing client feedback and testimonials. So always ask if you know you've over-delivered or at least you've met clients' expectations. That's the only time that you should ask for a testimonial of some form. If you haven't, then I don't recommend ask. If you know that you haven't gone above and beyond for the client, you've done stuff not only for the project but also outside the project, then do not ask for feedback and testimonials. Maybe feedback, but don't ask for testimonials or video testimonials, because this is the highest form of trust that a client can give you, is being able to go on camera, represent themselves and their business, and say that this guy helped me, you should work with him. That's the highest form. And if you can't confidently ask them, then there's no point. Wrap it up, pack it up. But if they do, highlight positive feedback in your profile and proposals. That's the social proof, and that's the loop. So you start out, maybe you have 0 clients, you do free work, you get portfolio elements, social proof, case studies, clients. You then start to do outbound and get your first client, and then you get results for that client, and then they give you testimonials, case studies, and then it goes all back over in a loop. After that, that's the ideal loop. You keep it like that. So ensure that this is what you're actually striving for whenever it is that you get case studies and testimonials. The only reason you get these elements is so that you can get more projects, and goes on and on and on. So lastly, scaling your agency with Upwork. So client fulfillment, under promise, over deliver. It's a very simple concept that makes up 90% of running a successful business in my experience. Client communication, build actual relationships with your clients. This, in tandem with over delivering, will lead to referrals and new opportunities. Lastly, volume. I leave this one blank for a reason, and it's because volume is essentially being able to send out proposals en masse while keeping the same quality, and it's something that I'll go more in depth into in another video. So guys, this is going to be the end of the video. Really appreciate you sticking around if you've made it so far. If you liked what you saw, be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube and check out my socials in the description. And if you're an agency owner that's doing anywhere between 10 or 15k plus and you want to scale your business using Upwork, then feel free, check the link in my description to my website. You'd be able to find more information and potentially book in a call with me. So with that being said, all the best guys, take care. Happy sending.